My name is Cora and today is going to be our second ever Q&A video. I went on Instagram and I asked you what questions you want to see me answer in this video. Let's move on to the first question from one of my favorite accounts actually, Angel Ghost Art, and they ask, how do you be so cool? First of all, thank you for the flattery. Follow your passions and try things, even if you're gonna be bad at them or cringy at first, because like I wasn't good at making content or putting together outfits at first. It took years of practice. You know, you'll get past the cringy phase and you'll come out the other side to a point where other people are gonna look to you and think, oh, that's so cool, how can I be like that? That's my advice. You can only become cool once you learn how to be cringy. Next question is from XX October Oblivion XX, and they asked, what's your favorite song at the moment? I think it might be Pink Freak by Elliot Lee. That's just how I imagine you pronounce the song, because that's how she says it in the song. Honestly, I love all of her songs because they often have like a mental health message to them. The artist herself, Elliot Lee, has like this very cutesy style, but her music is like so melancholic but also so good. And her song Pink Freak is just, it's so good. It's about how she experiences sadness and depression and mental health issues in a way that is like different from what other people might think it is. There's the line, you say that I'm blue but I feel pink, and that actually reminded me of Jade from Jaded Island and her concept of pink energy, and how pink energy doesn't always mean like being positive and happy all the time. It's really just meant to be authentic. That song definitely came to me during a time when I feel like I really needed to hear it, when I wasn't having a good time with my current brain chemistry. Let's move on to the third question, which is also from October Oblivion, who asks, who are some of your favorite sustainability YouTubers? So I wouldn't say I watch as much sustainability YouTube as I used to when I was first getting started, and I feel like the ones I am subscribed to haven't been posting much lately. There's Shell Bizzly or something? I don't know, I forgot how to pronounce her name. And then there's also My Green Closet, who hasn't been posting much because, well, she's a mother now, but she was definitely one of my main inspirations in becoming more sustainable with my fashion and stuff. She just has like such a warm and calming presence. Highly recommend. And then if you want someone with a bit more attitude, a bit more sass, Shell Bizzly is the one to go for. Mary Green Apple asks, do you have any brand recommendations for people with more mask-leaning kawaii / J fashion styles? I do like to dress androgynously, so I am always on the lookout for like cute androgynous brands that are also like sustainable or ethical and stuff. So the three brands that I would like to recommend are Big Bud Press. They have a few dad shirt designs, they have like a few polo designs which are really cute, and they're great for if you want like colourful basics, especially when it comes to like pants or boiler suits. Like boiler suits are so androgynous. I'd say like pretty much all of their styles are unisex. It's all ethically made in LA as well. Then there is Mokuyobi Threads, who is great for dad shirts, not so much pants. They don't really have any pants available, but they do have some shorts. But in terms of like shirts and caps and stuff, you can trust Milky Obi threads. I also believe Big Bad Press has like a few baseball caps that are great for androgynous looks. And then my final recommendation is, of course, my #1 favorite brand. I know, I keep mentioning them. I'm even wearing them in this video. Clean the Label. They have some great dad shirt designs. They have like these adorable pants. They have like these long sleeve button-ups made out of like fabric scraps and stuff. The thing about Clean the Label is they do tend to use pink more often, but I wouldn't say that the pink tends to like feminize it more. Like when I wear my pink long sleeve button up from Clean the Label, it definitely feels more androgynous when I wear it. I feel more androgynous when I wear it. I've also seen male or male presenting models wearing it as well. They'll also have some not so pink options for you as well. Now we'll move on to the next question, which is from KiraHoshi_Wooby, and they asked, how did you start wearing alternative fashion and is your family supportive of it? I think I first heard about it when my granny, she picked up on my weeb phase. She shared with me the infamous Gwen Stefani song, Harajuku Girls. Throughout the years, sometimes like just the concept of Harajuku Girls would like pop into my head, and like I'd occasionally Google it, and I just really liked looking at like the Google image results and thought that they were really interesting. I went to a primary school and a high school with a very high Asian populace, so like I know a lot of people talk about like getting into kawaii culture and like anime and stuff as being like a thing that they were so alone in. At my school, it was crazy normalized to be a weeb. So as a result, people would have like their kawaii pencil cases. Sometimes they try to get away with breaking the uniform policy by wearing like a cute bow or something. You know, I was basically in this environment where it was only natural that I'd discover kawaii and Harajuku fashion. And I think what eventually made me really want to start wearing it was the Refinery 29 documentary on Decora fashion, as well as the one on Lolita fashion. So then I started experimenting a little bit with what I already happened to have. I'd also recently gotten this macaroon dress from a store at the Collective Markets. I remember I used that dress as the main piece for a lot of my outfits. I was also given like a hoodie from Harajuku itself by my uncle who had gone to Japan with his family. So with that hoodie and that dress and sort of like collecting some other bits and pieces over the course of a few months, I wore my first Decora fashion coordinate in public to the Harajuku Fashion Walk. And I should probably mention that there was a question here. Here we go. Floofy did ask, what was your first experience dressing alt in public like? And I'm answering it now while answering another question, so I just thought I'd point that out. I had been experimenting and dipping my toe into wearing like more alternative styles in public every now and again, but I was always too afraid to go super all out until the Harajuku Fashion Walk, when I did go for like Decora and stuff. You can be the judge of how that outfit turned out. As you can tell, my current style is very different. Going to the Harajuku Fashion Walk is like my first experience dressing like all out was probably the best one for me, because I was surrounded by a bunch of other people who also happened to be dressing as weird as I was that day, and it was just like a really positive environment. I got to meet so many new people and get to know people and stuff like that, and so from that experience, that just ended up giving me so much confidence that I ended up going further into it. I managed to convince my parents to buy me my first Lolita coordinate for my school formal, And then once I graduated high school, I didn't have to wear a uniform anymore, so I was able to like start to explore my style even further, and I would like dress kawaii every single day for university. I definitely grew up in a family that did encourage creativity. Next question, and this one is a similar one from Sam Bosengay. So Sam asked in more general terms, how do you start to get involved in alternative fashions? I really love seeing your posts and what you wear, and I want to start branching out and being more out there, but I have no idea where to look that's not insanely overpriced. When it comes to getting started in alternative fashions, you should definitely look into how a lot of alternative fashion trends themselves actually start. Nowadays, a lot of these alternative fashions are kind of like becoming more about having like these status symbols from certain brands like a Regular Choice or like Lazy Ove or Dolls Kill. When you're starting out, honestly, like thrifting and DIY is seriously your best friend. And also not just going to op shops. I think you should definitely explore secondhand markets. In the city you live in, I'm pretty sure they have suitcase rummages, and I know that at least in the suitcase rummage in Brisbane, that's where we tend to get a lot of like the more alternative and like gender non-conforming people. If not that, just any secondhand market where it's just people booking a store to just sell their own old clothing, because that's where you get some really cool stuff. It really is just about experimenting and sometimes working within your means, working within a budget. That does force you to be more creative. Definitely look into like old Street Snap magazines like Fruits. A lot of these people in the magazines, they're not trying to have like the most cohesive, perfect outfits by any means. Their outfits are often like very messy and jumbled together, but there's just something so charming and inspirational about it. It's like they're not holding back in any way. I think that's just why that's my number one tip. You should look into the origins of a lot of these styles rather than trying to necessarily replicate what these styles are like now. Sometimes we just get too caught up in the idea of trying to be like the people who have been dressing in alternative fashion for years, when it takes like time and patience to get to a point where you can like wear a $300 top over a $200 dress. Next question, and this one is also from Kirahoshi Wooby, which is, do you have any unpopular J-fashion opinions? I think that Lolita coordinates that deliberately break the rules. There's something I like looking at more than coordinates in Lolita fashion that follow the rules to a T. I feel like the rules of Lolita, while I understand why they exist, they do come to a point where it can be quite stifling, but seeing the coordinates of people like Avena or Katy Baby Doll, or I remember there was one other who I can't remember, Lolita coords that experiment and do something new. For example, combining Uchuke with a Lolita coord, or like wearing a freaking tinsel jacket. If I ever get back into Lolita, one of my dream coordinates will involve a Rachel Burke tinsel jacket. And also I feel like this rigid adherence to the rules is like more of a thing that the international community is obsessed with, whereas like in Japan itself, they really don't care that much. I always find it interesting that like the international community comes up with these very strict rules, and then it's like Japan does something like constantly using models who happen to show their knees when wearing Lolita fashion, and oh look, showing your knees in Lolita fashion isn't taboo anymore. If you honestly enjoy doing things by the book and adhering to these rules, more power to you, do it. But if you're someone who Like, maybe you want something a little bit more. Break some rules. It's in the spirit of Harajuku and alternative fashion to experiment and mix and match and come up with like these new fashion concepts. Just don't allow yourself to get caught in an echo chamber of the same silhouettes, the same styles, the same inspirations, the same brands. Look beyond. See what else is out there. Bree Middleton asks, what is/are your favorite pieces of clothing? I think for a lot of you who follow me on Instagram, this was a very obvious choice. The sprinkles on top dress that I wear literally all the time. Like, this is easily my most worn piece in my wardrobe. It's comfortable and you can just throw it on and you look great. Okay, next question is from Brian Benitez. And they ask, in the evening, would you rather play a game, visit a relative, watch a movie, or read? So usually in the evenings I feel more drained, so I do like to use my evenings as a chance to chill out. I've recently been playing a lot of Stardew Valley, and if I'm not playing Stardew Valley, I'm usually watching stuff on YouTube or watching cartoons. This is our last question of today from Floofy again, and it is, what is your favorite aspect of dressing the way that you do? I just say my favorite aspect is like having this everyday creative outlet, as well as being able to just see myself in the mirror and just like love what I see. I'm looking at myself in the viewfinder right now and I'm like, damn Cora, you look so cute. Clothes are so pretty and so inspiring, and they make me feel so pretty, and they help me be creative, and I love the community that comes with it, and I can't choose any favorite thing because there's so much I love. It makes you feel so happy and so alive, and like you can do anything. Those are all of the questions for today. Definitely check out my channel for some other videos, and of course it's in the outro when Kippy wants to interrupt. Follow me on Instagram for some more kawaii content, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye! Say goodbye, Kip. Say goodbye to the vlog.